Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. Big roster drama continuing to unfold just before the VCT gets underway. We are less than a week away from the Chinese kickoff beginning and just over that from the other regions as well. But the Pacific, they will see one of their big favorited rosters for the upcoming season with a very different team after apparently mutually agreeing to part ways with one of their players down to the academy team. Has he been benched? Has he decided to bench himself? What exactly is going on here, especially with DRX seemingly pulling a Cloud9-esque situation? One of their players who was there, not there, now he's back again into the starting roster. Are they going to have a similar response to Cloud9, given the fact that in the Americas, some people think they're going to be good, some people certainly not so good, and with DRX looking to have a big bounce back year after a relatively disappointing 2024, is this the way to go? Very much on Twitter your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. I thought Ryan did a pretty damn good job with this actually as well, looking at VCT Americas 2025 Slander. Played it in the intro, might just run through it again relatively quickly. Now obviously NRG sounding a couple of good players, and here's the joke on Cloud9, right? Because in 2027, of course, that is the year when Riot are going through and reconsidering the partnerships. I think it's for the 2027 season, and I know there's been lots of questions on this, Ellie, because of course the VCT now has been around a couple of years as to when some of these organizations might get kicked out. Now of course, if you're Bleed and you're a fraud and you've actually got no money, then, well, unlucky, you can get kicked out at any time, as is exactly what happened over the last couple of months. But other organizations for the 2027 season are almost certain to see themselves get kicked out if they are not good enough. There are many good organizations out there wanting a chance in the VCT. Their options are pretty much grind through challenges, try to win Ascension. But obviously, if you prove yourself to be a competent team in that aim, basically, then theoretically, Riot might say, hey, you're actually a good pick as a partner, and we're going to lock you down as a permanent part of our franchise league. So that's why Cloud9 are under fire, really, because if they continue to mess people around, mess their players around, mess their fans around on some level, especially in the way that we have seen in recent weeks, minus vanity, plus vanity, minus vanity, getting rid of, Rooney, and maybe in a similar way. Obviously, the situation that's now unfolded with Rossi, getting rid of him from the team in a controversial circumstance, especially because they did it with Ye. They've now done it with Rossi in terms of players getting dropped at a time where they can't easily get another team. These are things that Riot will be keeping in mind. So for 25-26, they'll probably be fine, but in 2027, that's when there is some concern about whether, concern from the Cloud9 side anyway, as to if they don't get their act together to some degree, as to whether there are going to be problems with them maintaining their spot in the franchising partnership VCT League. This is another teaser on the new agent. This is all we've got. Clearly some sort of grenade situation happening here, and, Tejo, new agent, initiator, Colombian. I think that's pretty much all we have at the moment. Zekken wasn't especially happy, it seems, about, cheaters in his game. Hello, anyone at Riot want to do an emergency cheater check on my game? So seemingly still a problem. Obviously, the Vanguard anti-cheat, very invasive, doesn't catch everyone. And, Prius is even talking about this as well and saying that it wasn't long ago, maybe, that the game felt kind of cheaterless, as in, because the Vanguard anti-cheat were obviously, very much kernel level on the PCs, very intrusive and controversially so, but effective fundamentally at stopping the cheats, but maybe not as effective as it used to be. Of course, there's always innovation when it comes to, unfortunately, the cheat providers trying to get around stuff like this, and therefore the cheat developers themselves, or the anti-cheat developers, have to therefore respond. Let's talk about the roster stuff though, because yesterday this was a big confirmation of Nuki. Of course, a player that's been around the Valorant world now for quite some time, had a good 4 years competing in Valorant for various teams, and having some ups, some downs, some controversies was certainly the case in his time as well, especially on the G2 days. But yes, he will be returning to Counter-Strike in a similar way to what's happening here with Vanity, it seems. So yeah, that's what he has to say. See you on the server. So wishing him the best going forward. Of course, was around Valorant for quite some time. This is also a pretty big one. So Wild, the organization you might know because they are Usain Bolt's esports team, basically, and they've been okay okay. They've been around the block a little bit, certainly in the Valorant world, but they are going to be making a return to Valorant. In the NE, so North East Challengers League, Wild are going to be back in action for the new season, but let's talk about what's going on with DRX and other teams elsewhere as well. This is the kickoff bracket in the Pacific, starts on the 18th of January, so yeah, just under 2 weeks actually this gets underway, slightly later than most of the other regions. But this is your tournament schedule. I think we actually have it, yeah, right about here, and well, I can just fit it roughly on the screen. So day one on the Saturday, it's Boom Esports versus T1, then Zeta play the old Sinprasa Gaming team, now of course under Nongshim, and well, those are the first 4 games of the first couple of days. GE versus Team Secret, RRQ, DFM, and of course the winner of those games then goes on to play these teams that got the bye. So the teams that got the bye, Gen.G, Paper X, Talon Esports, DRX, who had a good season last year, not what they maybe would have wanted, and then over the next several days, we see following matches until there's the losers finals, which is in many respects the big game, because that determines the 2 teams that will be qualifying through to Masters Bangkok, and then of course the grand finals is a big deal as well, and then not that long after this, the 2 top teams, they go to Bangkok and try and contest the Masters title there. But DRX, they've had an interesting several months. If we look at their matches actually, just to look back on the end of last season, going to Champions, going down to Team Heretics, of course, in the ends, then going to the 10 Asia Invitational Tournament, playing okay but losing to Talon in the end, then the Radiant Asia Invitational. This was the bad one, really. They beat Gen.G, fair play. This was an impressive result for the guys. But in the end, they didn't get the result they wanted because they went down to Trace Esports 2-0 in a pretty surprising result. The team of High and Min, Flashback, Mako, Athan and Freeing as they were running at the time. Then they went on to play the Soup Valorant League. They beat Billy, they beat Rapid Lofi, but then they played Gen.G, and this was not especially close. 13-3, 13-9. They got pretty much slammed here. And yeah, High and Min, Freeing, Flashback, Mako and Athan. That was their team. Comfortably outclassed by Gen.G, an organisation that were good and still are very good, obviously, but they went to the grand finals and still lost in the end to NRG. So DRX, this was now at the 14th of December, seemingly in their practice over the last couple of weeks. It's still not exactly been going to plan, and they have decided that Athan, formerly known as Leviathan, not like Leviathan the organisation, but I think that would used to be his full name. He changed it just to Athan, but he has been benched basically. After mutual agreement, he has decided to step down from the starting roster and will compete on the DRX Prospects team. And now, of course, this is interesting because has he really benched himself? I mean, look, if he thinks he's not playing very well, then of course he might be frustrated and wants to go down. But usually this means he's benched and they asked him to go down and he said, all right, okay, I guess I got it because you want me to go type thing. Because it's pretty often you see mutual agreement. Sounds to me they've benched him and he's agreed. So I guess that's mutual agreement on that level. But the question, of course, was who are they going to get back? And Bayon is back in. So DRX have done loads over the last couple of years. Loads of legendary players gone from DRX back to DRX. Like, what are they doing? The likes of Foxy9, of course, and we've got like Stacks, for example, who was gone, and then RB, and lots of decisions they've made over the last year or so that have been semi-questionable. Bayon came in, did a pretty good job, to be fair. Then he was gone, then he's back in again. So it's all very confusing, I'd say, what DRX are up to. And as I say, on some level, they've not done things massively dissimilarly to what we have seen from Cloud9 in the Americas, really. But of course, because they've got the Challengers team, they're not necessarily screwing these guys over. But I still think their decision-making is questionable. Flashback, Heinmin, Bayon, Mako and Freeing, that's going to be their team of 5 now. And of course, Bayon back on the roster. I don't think this is a bad idea. I think he was pretty good for them last season. This, of course, was their loss they had at the World Championship last year to Team Heretics in the end. This was the roster they were running then. Buzz is now gone. Foxy9's now gone. Look, I'll be honest, I like the team they had last year more than I like the team they have this year, and I still think that's the case. But yeah, they're messing things around. Clearly, they weren't looking good enough behind the scenes in their practice if they were going to make a decision like this, and Bayon is now back on the starting team. Do I think this is a good decision in the circumstances? Yeah, I think it's probably the correct move. My concern is this happening way too late within reason? Because this is a change happening just before the season is about to get underway. They could have made this change a long time ago. Shows that whatever they've been working on for the last couple of months has not been ideal, to say the very least, and that Bayon is potentially going to be a part of their program for some time to come, but I'm not sure I'm expecting a mesmerizingly good kickoff, and therefore stage 1 with a change made with these circumstances this last minute going into the upcoming season. But very much interested your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comments section below. We also had this from Edward Gaming confirming their kickoff roster for the upcoming season. Of course, look, it is the roster they won the World Championship with, in addition to all their other supporting cast as well. But very much interested your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.